Welcome back to the VHS Vault. I'm your host, VHS Jason. Of course, next to me is Jason Roy Gaston, who knifes New York.
Yes. New York.
And if you haven't guessed, well, the big clues in his title, we are going back to no, we're not going back to Camp Crystal Lake.
For a little bitty bit.
Jason is going to Manhattan. He takes Manhattan.
Yes.
Number 8, Jason.
Number 8.
Now, great. We got 8.
The great 8, yes.
Yes. Now, we watched the last one, The New Blood, and let's just say we probably didn't have the best time with that Friday the 3rd. I think that's fair to say, isn't it?
That movie was butchered by the censors more than Jason butchers his victims.
But 8, however, 8, and I let it out of the bag, is goofy, and I had a fun time, Jason. Just to put it out there, because I know some people would be big Friday the 13th fans out there, maybe a little bit annoyed and go, here we go, ragging on 8. No, I'm in. I had a blast with this film, Jason.
This movie is incredibly stupid, but I dig it. As a matter of fact, I wish that it would have leaned a little bit more into the stupidity, and I wish that it would have done a few other things, but for the most part, I enjoyed this, and I enjoyed it more than what I should have.
This is in my big epic VHS era. Of course, I saw this on VHS. Didn't go to the movies to see this at this point.
Nobody did.
Nobody did, and I think we can get into a bit more of that. So, and yeah, in saying that, Jason, you didn't go see it at cinema either. Was it a video or Showtime or something like that?
This was a video rental for me, but I do remember seeing the trailer for this movie, and I saw it before Star Trek V: The Final Frontier, which is also just a banger of a sequel in itself. But I remember I was walking down the aisle to my seat, and the trailer was the New York City skyline, and you just see this man with his back to the camera, and he turns around, and it's Jason Voorhees, and it says, Jason takes Manhattan. And I remember everyone in the audience goes, oh, really?
You know, but I was excited when I saw the trailer for this.
Oh, I was just like, I want to see that so bad. And I would have seen it in theaters, but I was sick that day.
You got any tidbits for us this week about the making of this film, Jason?
Absolutely, because this movie caused controversy before it was even released.
Ugh.
The original poster for this movie featured Jason ripping through an I Love New York poster with a knife. Now, if you have your hands on one of these posters, it's a collector's item. You can probably sell it and retire because they're super rare. Because the New York Tourism Board complained and said, that is not something we like. Plus, there was the simple fact that the I Heart New York was copyrighted. And so they decided, okay, let's not have this poster. But if you have this poster, as I said, it is highly collectible nowadays. But just on a personal note, I love this movie because this is pre-Disney Times Square, and this is back whenever it was cruddy and filled with peep shows and porn houses and everything like that. And this is such a strange time capsule because this is right before they cleaned up Times Square in rather legally questionable ways, I might add. But I love this movie for that reason. This was the very end of the decadent Times Square era, and it's a time capsule here.
It is, and it's certainly from someone who hasn't been to New York and watches it from the other side of the observed it from the other side of the planet through film and television. That's the New York I like, you know what I mean, from a visual sense, you know. Back
that
in
New
the
York
80s,
is dead, unfortunately.
Yeah, if you had a scene in Times Square, generally in movies in the 80s, something bad was going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so, but we don't start out Manhattan in this film. In fact, we start out at Crystal Lake / River. I've got a question.
Yes, and it's so strange you mentioned that because that is my first note. I said, wait a second. Not only is Crystal Lake connected to the ocean, that must mean that it's salt or brackish this entire time. And for some reason, there's also high-capacity power lines under the water for absolutely no reason. because they wouldn't put high-capacity power lines underneath a lake. They would just put them around the lake, because that's why it's a lake.
Exactly. So it is questionable straight off the bat, isn't it? But, however, who knew that Jared Leto was in this movie as one of the two kids on the houseboat? You know?
Yes.
And can I say, this Jared Leto kid is an absolute jerk, by the way.
He is. We got to talk about this guy, though. The actor's name is Todd Caldecott.
Okay.
He was the first victim. First, I call him Twink Jason, because he does come out and he's got the mask on. Sure. And, of course, he scares his girlfriend, but everybody in the audience is like, that's not Jason. Obviously, that's not Jason. This is some twink wearing this mask. But what I thought was weird was that the mask has all the damage that Jason's mask has on it. Where did he get the mask? Again,
exactly.
This movie is just showing at the very beginning, this is not going to be logical. Don't put too much thought into it. But let's talk about the actor. This actor, who is a bad actor, by the way. This is my impression of Todd Caldecott getting killed. Is
smear it on the window.
Yeah, it's this. It's just, what is this? Oh no! Was this supposed to be inside me? Todd Caldecott is now an herbalist and an author of textbooks.
Oh wow!
So yeah, he gave up the acting gig and went into academics.
That is fantastic.
What kind of herbs? I can't tell you. I'm not sure, and I'm not going to insinuate anything.
Field, at least.
But he is in Canada, and he writes textbooks, so go there. Also, his companion, also not the best actor in the world.
No. She screams for the longest time in that section of the boat. Just sits there screaming as Jason's lording over her.
Yes.
She had plenty of time to do a runner.
And whenever he finally stabs her, which the kills in this movie are a little bit muted, but I think they did that because they didn't want this movie to be censored as well. Whenever she's killed and she sits there, it shows a long shot of her in this little, I don't know what you call it, a trunk or whatever it is. And this is what she looks like.
Yeah.
Like she's mad.
Yeah.
Oh, can't believe I didn't make it 2 minutes in Friday the 13th Part 8. Yeah, just awful actors.
Both
yeah.
But if you go back to the harpooning bit, remember Jason fires off, doesn't he, and misses Jared Leto?
Yes, he does.
And then actually stabs him with the harpoon weapon itself.
Well, Jason is very pragmatic. He uses what's ever around him. If there's a roll of duct tape and a salami, somehow or another, he's going to kill you with the roll of duct tape and the salami.
Oh, he's the MacGyver of the horror industry. There's no doubt about it. If it comes to a killer, he will get you out of a situation with a rubber band and some blue tack for sure.
Yeah, he'll come up to you with a sock, No, how are you going to kill me with a sock? Stab. Comes out the back of your back and.
But, of course, the boat catches that power line you were talking about.
Of course it does.
And at this point, all Jason needs is, a few thousand volts to get him going again. So,
can we also talk about
a dead battery?
Can we also talk about how he was situated at the bottom of the lake with all the dock parts on top of him and his one hand just up like this? I don't know why. I just found that so funny.
I actually looked at that and thought, is that a bit of continuity there from one of the last scene shots of Part 7?
It's so strange. They have that bit of continuity, but now Crystal Lake is part of the ocean.
It's now got maybe it's a man-made canal they've made. I don't know. But the whole idea, right, which looks like a shipping freighter boat, right, does not look like a fun time cruise ship.
No.
Basically,
it's
what
not.
They're selling it as a party boat here, aren't they?
They are, and it's so weird.
A bunch of high school kids going on a prom or spring break excursion. And so
do they ever really specify?
No, they don't really. Where is the man in this actor who's been a great B actor all the time, playing the head teacher in the movie?
Yes, and the only thing I could remember him from was that episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation where the Enterprise picks up all of those people who were frozen, and he's the rich guy. He's
I thought he was going to ask about money on the boat.
Yes, you do know that I could sell this. I could buy this boat and sell it, right? I could buy this ship. Oh, no, you can't. You sit down. I'll smack you silly.
Yeah, that's how they should have done his death. Just about if he's going to die, it should have somehow connected to it.
Well, maybe the goo that he drowned in, maybe that was like cryogenic fluid. So there you go.
Yeah, could have been. Could have been. We'll make it connect. They're both Paramount properties. They can make it work.
They also bring in another crazy old man to warn everybody about Jason. Where are these crazy old men coming from?
I know. I swear. Man, but I tell you what, though. Yes, the community clearly has some mental health issues in the town with all these crazy people. They need to deal with that. But secondly, he's actually functional in this one. It isn't once. He repeats the same warning about 3 times.
I want to know what the rest homes at Crystal Lake look like. It's just full of old men and women going, "You're doomed. You're all doomed. You're doomed. You're doomed. You're doomed. You're doomed." I just
feel sorry for the people that work there. It's lunchtime. Oh, no. Here we go.
It's time for your pudding, Mr. McGuffin. You're doomed. We're all going to laugh at you.
Would you like some more potato? You're doomed.
You're doomed. You're all doomed.
But we get, you know what is really flat and boring in this is literally all the young people in this movie don't work for me. The lead girl doesn't work for me at all. She comes off whiny. We've got a real yuppie spin on this group, haven't we? Everyone's a bit more very late 80s looking. Of course, it's the time period, but there's a different shift in. They're not maybe as perverted as the previous generations of
It's
Friday
like
teenagers.
They took the cast of Parker Lewis Can't Lose and put them into a Friday the 13th movie.
Greatest early 90s TV show.
The final girl from the last movie was scripted to reprise her role in this movie. Mm-hmm. She was supposed to be the obviously the one who was seeing spirits, which explains why she's seeing spirits.
Exactly. We haven't gotten to that yet, but that baffles me in this movie.
And I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but I remember watching this thinking, okay, it's another psychic girl. And then I got to watching the scene where little baby Jason first shows up, and I'm thinking, the dog can see it. Why can the dog see this?
See it. Are you talking about this moment here?
Yeah.
The portal? Yeah. Which it crosses the line of vision to reality in a nonsensical way, doesn't it? Because
it's also
there's a connection between her and Jason, which is never explained at all.
They try, but to me, it never pays off.
Well, what's the connection again? That
it's whenever she was a little girl, her
and she gets dragged down by the boy. Yeah. So
you never got me. You never got me. Yeah. Okay. Why is little boy being played by a different actor now? How many different actors are going to play this kid in this movie?
Is that what we're trying to say to the audience now? Jason lived under the water.
Yeah.
And all he would do is breathe underwater and wait for kids to go swimming who couldn't swim, and he would pull them down. So that connective tissue is garbage. Because what you're trying to do is connect to a non sequitur from the first film.
Exactly. And it's so strange because, obviously Jason is a zombie, and they actually call him a zombie in this movie for the first time ever. But then also he's a ghost, because I don't know if you noticed, but Jason gains a new ability in this movie. He can teleport now.
Yes.
Because the heavy metal chick, his first victim on this boat, looks up, sees him above her, screams, runs down to the bottom of the boat, which is a stupid move, admittedly, because there's no doors down there.
Yeah.
There's a screen door, but we don't talk about it. But she goes down there, and literally Jason's already there to smack her with her guitar that somehow he picked up already. Is he a ghost now? Does he have these supernatural powers? Because I'm not going to lie. If he did,
aren't they?
Yeah, if he did have those powers, if he's learning how to use those powers, that would be great. I would be all for it. give him a little bit of extra thing, but it's never explained because this script is just, I don't want to say it's garbage because it does have its moments, but it does not say why this is happening. And there's so many questions that are left up in the air, and don't even get me started on the ending because let's leave that till the ending.
Yes. Well, this film really should be called Jason Takes Manhattan Eventually. Because we do spend a lot of time on this boat, which wasn't in the initial plan. I think the initial plan was to have half on the boat. Well, actually, I think the first idea would have third on the boat and the rest of the film set in New York. And obviously, budgetary reasons changed that.
Yeah, Paramount just told them no.
Each individual concept very well. Having a whole film set on a cruise ship with Jason running around, that works for me. I'm good with that.
Jason at sea.
That's right. And, of course, Jason in New York as a concept alone is really great, And the film is at its strongest when they get off the boat.
Yes, it is.
The moment and we'll get to that later, but it really is. But it's not horrible. That first death was really horrible because, to me, it was an excuse just to get the Rock MTV chick looking hardcore in her. That's right. But there is some weird things. All the teenagers in here, even though they're a bit more yuppie, none of them are interesting. None of them really scream. I mean, we have the jock who seems to watch like girls boxing because that was a scene very weird. Even Kid Captain Todd. That's who I've called him, Kid Captain Todd. His old man really.
Why is an admiral in charge of this boat?
He seems a bit overdressed for that.
Why? Boat. Exactly.
I have no idea.
Even if it was like a top of the line cruise ship, an admiral would not be commanding this boat. A captain would be, but not an admiral. It's very odd. It's like somebody who just thought, well, Kirk's an admiral. He's in charge of one ship. Let's just make this guy an admiral.
Hey, man, if you're a parent dropping your kid off to that boat, would you let him on it? Like,
no.
A paint job.
We're like, honey, you don't have a tetanus shot. Well, you're not getting on that boat. You see that deckhand over there telling everybody they're doomed? I believe him.
We know it's the late 90s because now we have the introduction of a new teen stereotype, and that's geek video guy.
Yes.
He's constantly got his video camera with him.
Yes. I actually thought that it led to a fairly clever scene, and that is whenever he is down in the hold and he loses his glasses and he has to rely on the viewfinder to see.
It is a clever scene.
I thought it was clever. And
it made it claustrophobic.
Exactly. To me, it was almost like a found footage movie at that point. I was like, yeah, I'm digging this part. This is good. And then, now he's a crispy critter.
Yeah.
I don't know. Part of me thought it was funny that Jason throws him into that control panel and the guy catches on fire.
Yeah.
And then we cut back to him like 3 or 4 times, and it's just his body burning on this control panel. And I'm just like,
shots of it.
I don't think he's gonna get better.
No,
I think he's just dead.
The director's like, let him on fire. We're gonna slowly pan for a dolly shot here. Want to see his leg. But we get Mean Girls. We got Mean Girls. We got
my gosh,
real troublemaker.
That blonde girl
does coke. And the foolish friend who just tags along because she's not brave enough to stand up to her friend. Like, ugh.
Okay. Let's talk about the blonde girl. She literally does an attempted murder in front of a teacher.
Yeah.
And they never do anything about it.
You should have got broken bones at least from that.
Yeah. Literally tried to murder a girl because she thought that she might rat them out. To say nothing of the sexual harassment against the teacher.
Yeah, and that is going full on, hey. And you know what saves that scene though is the teacher.
Yeah,
like not succumbing, like going, what the hell?
I will say that teacher should have immediately, instead of laying down on the bed, there should have immediately like, get off me. What's wrong with you? Gross. You're a teenager. Get off me. Disgusting. Yeah,
the moment she disrobed would be like, you put your clothes on right now, young lady. But no, it doesn't kind of happen like that. But, he's thinking about his stocks. How much are they going to be worth in the 24th century? His eye's not on the prize. He's thinking about those future profits.
But to be honest, I kind of saw Jason as the main protagonist guardian angel at this point, because he is literally going around and getting rid of everyone who threatens her, and that continues in New York City. The only one that he really doesn't go after is the guy in the sauna, that poor guy in the sauna who gets rocked to death.
Oh yeah, through the chest.
Two people in this movie gets rocked to death. One with a rock and the other one with a guitar.
Very rock and roll. Jason ever get dry in this movie? He never dries out, does he?
He's like one of the aliens. He just stays gooey during the entire movie.
Yeah, he reminded me
honestly,
of one of the...
I thought he looked really gross.
Yeah.
Until he took off his helmet, then I'm like, what is that? No.
Yeah, what is that? But he reminded me like one of the bad guys from a Pirates of the Caribbean film. Always slimy, always wet. But he does look cool. However, this is where I get disappointed because they did such a great makeup job on Jason in Part 7 with his spine and the degradation of Jason. I would have liked them to have continued that degradation.
Yes, somehow he regenerations in this one.
That's some magic electricity, mate. Magic.
I guess so. It's that brackish, salty Crystal Lake water. It's good for you, apparently.
Now, already you've got a couple of people dead on this boat.
Yes.
And you've got the deckhand telling you, you're all doomed.
You're all doomed. Doomed!
Not the brightest bunch. They're not. The teacher's just slightly annoyed at this point. He's crazy. The poor first officer in this film, like, no role, all right? No role. He's just a yes man to going, really? He's an admiral? I'm working with an admiral? Like what did he do wrong? Anyway, he doesn't get a bad death. This is where the stakes start to jump up on the boat, because, Jason, I'm taking out the first officer now.
Yep.
You guys are screwed. I didn't mind
Jason knows more about naval chain of command than the people who wrote this movie did.
Yeah, but he gets harpooned too, because there's a couple of times a harpoon gets used.
Well, I enjoy how the first officer was the cop who's 1 week away from retirement, and they'd take a scene where he talks about his newborn daughter and his wife and everything, and the whole time he's talking, I'm like, this dude's dead.
This dude's dead. For some reason, they write. The writer's written it. This will create some emotional connection for the audience. They'll be rooting for him now. It'll be so tragic when he dies.
Nobody in the audience.
We don't care.
Yeah, everybody in the audience. Oh no, they killed what's his name. You want a refill on your popcorn?
We got a good, nice slicing of the throat though with the captain.
That was a really good effect.
It opened up quite well.
Yes, I was quite impressed by that.
Captain Kid Todd, not that shattered about dear old dad, to be honest with you. Because he's dead lying on the floor and he's making plans with the rest of the crew, or arguing that the jock's going to take him down with his buddies. So, yeah. So they go off,
I did like the jock's line about, I don't need nothing but this. Okay, he's smart. I like him.
Yeah, I like him. But they go hunting Jason, which is... I think the first time, Jason, you tell me, when other in the films that a group have... I love disco. I don't care. I'll live in the 70s. And love a good dance floor.
It's so terrible.
And nothing would work better than having Jason kill somebody on the dance floor.
Where in that boat do they have room for a dance floor, though?
I have no idea.
They have all these passenger cabins with private showers. They've got a dance floor. They've got like 7 decks in the engineering. There's a size discrepancy on this boat somewhere.
It's a bit of an issue, isn't there?
There's probably a theater showing first-run movies. There's a promenade with shops. And how many kids are on this cruise? Like 7? There's like 7 kids on this whole cruise.
I think that would have been a bit of a failure for the school if that was an excursion. But yeah, look, the disco death I liked. It was a bit drawn out having her in the air, but I liked it.
Well, and again, magical teleporting Jason to the rescue. Or to the unrescue, I should say.
Yeah. But that burning corpse for Video Dweeb that you mentioned too, it just... because that's the next kill after this. And you're so right. They just hang on to it for so long.
Somebody did
thinking,
not
what
like
did
that
kid
actor.
do? Like, he has to get the longest on-screen, like, after-death shot. Like, he's on
Yeah, and
fire.
this guy is like that kid is now an actor, I think, on Riverdale or something. He's like a hot daddy on Riverdale, which is really weird.
It's a weird
I'll have to look
choice,
and see.
Jason. The reason I mention it is because, as a character, he portrays innocence. He's just fawning over the bad girls. That's his whole thing in the movie. But generally, he's a nice kid. He's not sinning. He's not treating anybody bad. And it just seems an odd choice to make sure that you hang on his death more than the other ones.
Well, I think they needed an excuse for them to abandon ship, and maybe because they couldn't afford to actually show the boat sinking, they had to.
No.
I don't know. It is a weird choice.
We can't really light a lot of the set on fire, so we'll just light him on fire.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. He'll be fine.
But it does raise the stakes because now we've got a madman on the loose, a supernatural zombie. We've got the boys hunting him down, and the boat's on fire.
Yes.
Meanwhile, we've got the main girl and the mum and the creepy teacher. They've got their own thing going. So what we do have, interestingly enough, is 3 or 4 plot lines all simultaneously running at the same time, which is rather complex for a Friday the 13th.
Yeah, these movies are not exactly deep.
Yeah. You know what is deep, though? An axe in the back of the creepy deckhand.
Absolutely.
He was wrong the whole time. He was doomed. That's what it should have been last time. Who knew I was doomed?
Yeah, well, the creepy old men in these movies don't last very long either, so, you know.
So as the boat's sinking, okay, we finally, and I reckon we're an hour into this film. We're still on the goddamn boat at this point.
Yes.
But because it's on fire, everyone gets into a lifeboat. Don't know how the dog got there. Jason's not the only thing that can teleport. The dog can too.
Well, you know. That's the dog's special powers. He can see ghosts and he can teleport.
But they row their way to New York Harbor, correct? Is that where they are?
Yes. Somehow they get to New York Harbor. They get to shore. Not a single patrol boat notices them. And this is an interesting behind-the-scenes tidbit for you. In the original script, when Jason makes it to the dock, the dog starts barking at him, and so Jason was supposed to have kicked the dog. Kane Hodder, who played Jason, felt that kicking the dog was going too far.
He's
so
right.
the scene
I'm sorry.
was dropped.
I'm with you, Kane.
You know, I don't mind if he cuts up a bunch of teenagers, but do not hurt a dog. I want to see Jason pet a dog one day. Just a dog runs up to him. Jason reaches down, pets the dog. The dog whines and licks him and then runs away. Jason
has a moral code.
Oh, absolutely.
He really does. I mean, like, if you're in his way, he's going to kill you. But you're not his target. You're not his target.
And if you distract him, he's going to kill you.
Yeah. So best avoid him.
Premarital sex, drugs, alcohol. If you do any of one of those things, he's going to come get you.
Exactly, 100%. And it works that we have those rules for the character. Meanwhile, Jason is flapping around like a fish underwater because he's following the lifeboat. And there's a missed opportunity not to have that mask come out like a little fin at some point.
Oh, yes, I agree.
His way to the harbour. But, dude, how good is when he does arrive? And I'm see if I've got the picture here. But
I already know what you're going to say. Yes.
The billboard. One of the greatest, funniest gags that works so well, I think. Because, hey, look, New York's a hockey town, mate. And, of course, there'd be billboards about sports.
When I met Kane Hodder, that is the picture he signed for me, was Jason standing in front of that billboard. So, yes, I think it's a marvelous.
Yeah,
marvelous.
That's great. I did not know that. That's so cool, dude. I'm super jealous of that.
And I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. Kane Hodder is one of the nicest people I've ever met. As a matter of fact, during this movie, even though it was a very rigorous shoot for them, because I had to shoot all manner of the night in both Toronto and New York City, because they couldn't afford to film in New York City all the time, Kane Hodder would dance disco between takes to entertain everyone.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Now, we do get to New York. A couple of things happen. A, they get stuck in a maze full of dirty alleyways.
Yeah, because, apparently that's all New York is.
Yeah, it's just these really trashed alleyways. And because it's 80s New York, they're mugged within the first 5 minutes.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Straight away, that's New York for you. Anywhere you walk in the 80s New York, you were going to get mugged, which is kind of hilarious. But the real reason they had alleyways is that they only had like 2 days to film in New York, I think. And the rest of it was shot in Toronto or something.
Yes.
To make it look like it.
The gang members are interesting. Because, I mean, obviously they're preparing to do something very unspeakable to this young woman. Jason shows up and just kills the heck out of him. Again, Jason is this woman's guardian angel. Yeah, but I love the other gang member who shows up and sees that Jason has literally punched his way through this guy's chest. And does he scream? Does he run away? No. He acts annoyed and says, "Who the F are you?" That's a very unbalanced reaction.
A bit off, but this whole sequence here is a bit off. I mean,
it really is.
Our main protagonist girl, they inject her with drugs.
Yes, because drugs are bad.
Drugs are bad. Jason's come, like you said, Jason's comes and kills them because originally the script was connected to Seven. And I think there would have been a stronger focus on Jason and her having a kinship where he would actually answer to her. That's where I think they would have taken the script. But not explained here. He kills him. She gets up and the drugs have worn off immediately.
Oh, yeah, because, it's 80s New York drugs, probably bought very cheap. It's very weak. Somebody needs to have a talk with their dealer, but those somebodies are dead, so the dealer's getting away with it.
Yeah. And when we talk about teleportation, we get another great little teleportation moment here where the kids are busting their ass to run away, get onto the subway, and Jason's there. Through the window.
I love that there is literally a half-dead, rotting zombie with a machete walking through the subway, and the New Yorkers are ignoring him. It's perfect. I think that is the funniest gag in the entire movie, is that they're just like, ugh, don't sit here, please.
That's it. And he's ignoring them too. So it's a mutual thing. We don't care about each other. So
like I said, as long as you don't distract him, he's going to leave you alone if you're not his target. So, they're going to, Jason's a New Yorker. That's just it. He's laser focused. He's ignoring everybody. He just wants to get done what he wants to get done. And if you get in his way, he's going to do like a New Yorker does, only a lot more severe. New Yorker will say, "Get the F out of the way." He's just going to smack you with his machete and just keep going.
Again, right? That's a different type of Jason than previous films, though. Because the previous version of Jason would have just gone smorgasbord and hacked everyone up.
Oh, absolutely.
This, again, goes back to my theory again that you're absolutely right. This was the sequel to number 7 with that main character. And, he was focused on her. So they've left elements of that script in here. They should have just removed that whole concept because it's frustrating to watch. As frustrating as to watch Jason getting fried on train tracks and thinking that he was dead. Yeah,
well,
right. You were
Lightning
has him up.
Lightning, that's Jason's kryptonite. If kryptonite is like meth.
Oh, look, if Jason was a mobile phone, he was at 60% battery and you just recharge him to 100%.
Yeah, so. You just gave him a power pack, so he's good for the rest of the night.
Yeah. Getting any Ninja Turtle vibes when they go down to the
I actually did. I wanted to see the Ninja Turtles jump out with all their weapons and just go, whoa, and then run away.
The moment
have Splinter back there go, "Run, my children, run!
Run.
This is a crossover. We will not survive."
about the same year, wasn't it? Was this 89, 90? Within 12
I think
months
this was 89, and I think the Turtle movie came out in
90.
90. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
So it could have happened. It could have happened.
Could have happened. Jason shows Casey Jones. I'm now named the gang Casey Jones. Ninja Turtle motif going on here. the face.
Another
A
great
good gag.
A great gag.
Great gag because Kane Hodder knew what he was doing in that Times Square.
Oh, absolutely.
Just walks up, kicks the absolute crap out of that ghetto blaster. And I love that boot. Just boots it. Hey.
Which I think it sounded like Will Smith being played, which I'm not sure.
I hope so.
I looked it up. I could not find out who sang "Living in the City Ain't No Big Deal." But if it was Will Smith, that means Will Smith was in a Friday the 13th movie. And I think that's amazing.
That is pretty great. They really flushed toxic waste through the sewers in 1980s New York?
I have never... I think that's just a plot device. I don't think that actually ever happens.
No way would it happen. You would have had thousands of people dying from inhaling toxic waste coming from the vents.
Don't think that works. Before we get to this ending, though, we have to talk about the best death in the movie, though. The best death and the most aggravating death. First of all, the best death was the jock who challenges Jason to a bare-knuckle fist fight. Which great scene. I like that somebody decides to fight Jason mano a mano. I think that if he'd been thinking, he does. If he'd been thinking, though, he would have pushed Jason off the side of the building because the edge was right there. But just the idea that Jason punches this guy in the face and knocks his head off and it lands in a dumpster is comic gold. But then, off camera, Jason climbs down out of that building, retrieves the head from the dumpster, sneaks up to a cop car that apparently he just predicted because of his great analytical mind that these kids would end up to, even though there was no clue they would, and hangs the head by a little tiny string.
Yeah.
And just waits for them to find it. Just the idea of him doing all this stuff off camera. Just
double knot going.
You're just... And then we go to the most aggravating death, and that is of the teacher. Not the mean teacher, but the other teacher who was kind of the mentor to the final girl.
Yeah.
Because they crash, they all leave, and then the car catches on fire, and not even the final girl, it's the boring boyfriend turns around and goes, Miss Patty, whatever her name was. And that's it.
Yeah.
There's no body, there's no nothing.
She dies in a fiery crash.
It's like the actress who played her just said, I'm done. And they had to cover it up.
Set today.
I did find the death of the mean teacher very satisfying, I guess, because he got what was coming to him, and it was a very gruesome way to go.
Yeah, that was it. Was that a barrel of toxic waste?
I think that was just a barrel of just water and rat pee.
Yeah, but he drowns.
He drowns, and it's pretty gruesome.
And it's not a 2-second shot with cutaway. No, we that camera stays fixed for about 20 seconds as we watch this guy drown.
Yes.
Yeah, but the knocking off the head thing, and you're talking about Jason's taken this time to put the head in the cop car. That's not unusual. We know
Jason is all about presentation.
All about presentation. He will go and put the icing on the cake, put the cherry on top for food. He's a craftsman.
He is.
He takes it seriously.
Speaking of craftsmen, at one point Jason chases the final two characters through a diner. And he throws a very large man into a mirror.
Yes.
That man that he throws into the mirror is Ken Kurtzinger. And Ken Kurtzinger would go on to play Jason Voorhees in Freddy vs. Jason. So Jason killed another Jason, which is not the first time it happens in these movies. It happens again in Jason Goes to Hell.
Oh wow! Okay, great.
Because Jason kills an orderly who is played by Kane Hodder out of makeup.
Yes, that's great.
So if we had a nickel for every time that happened, we'd have 10 cents, which isn't a lot, but it's strange that it happened twice.
Yeah. Now we got to get to Toxic Avenger.
Jason. Yes. Okay, first of all, Jason screaming is very weird.
Weird.
It's very weird.
Yeah. Did not
And
sound
the
right.
the makeup is, it's not grotesque, it's not scary, it's comical. And it was very bad.
The reason I said Toxic Avenger because it looks like the special effects from
He looks like the
Trauma
Toxic
films.
Avenger.
Yeah, it's a very trauma film-esque, I think.
Yes.
But his death is also... When we don't talk about some of the ridiculous things, one of the things that made me groan in this film is that... Look, you had to put this through a special effects lab to make this happen.
Oh,
The
special
lightning
effects.
strike...
Hold up. Special effects.
Yeah.
The shot of Jason throwing up before the water hits him is not a special effect. Kane Hodder can throw up on cue.
Oh!
One of his many talents. So that what you're looking is Kane Hodder actually vomiting. Because he can do it on cue. And I think that's amazing. But
that is amazing. I'm glad you mentioned it.
Let's get on to this terrible ending.
A terrible ending. So basically Jason's getting melted by the... You know, they're on a timer. They're about to release all the waste. And they're climbing up to get out. And, of course, Jason's getting melted away as such, you know. But his actual death is signified by a freaking lightning strike on the Statue of Liberty.
Well, you know.
They had to put that through a special effects lab.
You know.
It's just like, has he got that much power that from the gods above... lightning will come down and strike the Statue of Liberty? It's just, it's okay, like you said, if there's a supernatural, teleportating zombie Jason. But they keep breaking their own rules in their film.
And strangely enough, that is not the most ridiculous thing about the death.
What do you think is the most ridiculous?
Even more ridiculous because Jason is turned into a little boy. Yes. And whenever they show a close-up of the little boy, he's breathing. Wait a second. Yes. You mean to tell me that Jason got turned into a little boy, that little boy is alive, and then they leave him in the sewer?
It's this, isn't it?
Yeah, but the kid that's down there, he's not freaky makeup Jason. It's just a regular kid.
With bad makeup anyway. You clearly didn't see the other films in the way of makeup. This is some of the bad things, is that is nowhere near close to what they've designed for that boy character in multiple other films.
Well, you know, honestly, I think he looks pretty good right there, and I actually think that if there was any scary scene, it would be that scene right there where the little boy is in the middle of the road and everything's quiet except for that boom, boom. That was super scary, and I remember that got me whenever I was younger. Yeah. But none of the other shots of the boy look like that. Yeah. He's just a normal kid all the other times, and I'm just wondering, what is the thought process here?
Even this scene, going back to here.
Yeah.
A full head of hair, a normal looking boy.
Yeah, and then later they give him like the little droopy eye and a couple others, but that one shot where he's standing in front of the car, that's like full on, like almost close to the way he looked in 1981. But I just don't get the reasoning behind it. It's just so vague. Yeah. And it just ruins everything. And the shot of the little boy alive in the sewer, it's been, 30 years? I can't get over that.
No.
I get angry when I think about it. Like, what
lazy,
were they even trying to do?
Yeah, that's right. It seems lazy. Now, and what they're trying to do here, though, is this is the last roll of the dice, I think, at this time, right? Because around this time, don't Paramount lose the rights?
They did not lose the rights. They sold the rights.
Sorry, sold the rights to New York, correct?
What happened was this movie had a budget of $5 million, which meant that Jason Takes Manhattan. He doesn't really take Manhattan. He's just in Manhattan for 15 minutes. They had plans to shoot at Madison Square Gardens, the Brooklyn Bridge, the Statue of Liberty, the Empire State Building. Paramount said no. We can't afford it. And so, number one, I think that the movie basically does not deliver what it promises. But then the movie, despite the fact that it made money, it made $14 million with a budget of $5 million. It was still the lowest grossing of the series. Paramount was kind of embarrassed by it by this point. And so they sold it to New Line Cinema. And New Line Cinema would go on to be the distributor for Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, and Freddy versus Jason.
Mhm.
And Paramount would not come back into the picture until the reboot that no one ever talks about.
No, and we eventually will. But yeah, I mean, I feel like as a parting shot, they're like if you're melting Jason into nothing, like you're pretty well saying the character's gone. You're not really setting up for a sequel well at all at this stage. You know what I mean? At least 6 and 7, they put him in the bottom of the lake. We're not completely blowing him up yet. In fact, we see the result of that in the next film, which is a Jason film without Jason in many ways. So,
but I do respect the way that New Line did not take the bait and just brought back Jason for no reason at all.
No, they played it. Yeah,
I thought it was great.
Yeah, well, that'll be the next Friday the 13th movie that we do next after this. But this film. Probably enjoyed this number 3 on my list so far. 6 stands out. I do like 4. Even though it has got some problem. Number 4 is still my second favourite. And this one is right up there in third. Like, for as much as goofy it was, it had some really strong things about it that worked as well.
I enjoyed it. I shouldn't have. I know it's bad. I know it's terrible.
Oh, you're in guilty pleasure territory.
It is a guilty pleasure. 8 is definitely a guilty pleasure. And, you got to give them props for trying to do something new.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're trying to mess with the formula.
Yeah.
Sorry, my cat is like doing something over there. I don't know what she's doing.
You know why your cat's doing something, Jason? Because they're excited. Because you know what we're doing now. We're spinning
Let's do it.
Let's do
it.
Let's do it, eh?
Do it.
There we go. Here we go. We got the wheel. All right. Now, any predictions this week, Jason? Is there anywhere you want to land? I know we talked about where you want to land. Tell me where you think we will land this week.
I think that we're owed animated by this point. I just feel it in my bones.
Okay, well, I'm putting my money down on the horror because I feel like this is becoming a horror show. So I'm going, well, let's find out. Let's press enter. I can click or press enter today. I'm going to press enter. And I just.
What did you do?
I just removed it. Now we're back. Enter won't work. Let's click. There we go.
This is exciting.
Oh.
We're in science fiction and fantasy again.
Okay, wow, we're there again. Okay, that means I better bring it up. I'm happy with that choice. I don't hate that choice.
I'm a big fan of science fiction and fantasy. The one I'm the one I'm not looking forward to is drama. Drama's just bore me.
Yeah, exactly. All right, here we are. Are we ready to do this, Jason?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
I mean, there's some great movies on there.
I see so many I want to do so badly.
Oh, look, Darkman from Enemy Mine, which I love.
I'm looking at the Beastmaster. I'm looking at Swamp Thing is still on there.
Is it? We'll have to remove that.
It is.
It's sure it's not Return, or it is actually Swamp Thing. We love it.
I think it's just Swamp Thing.
Well, if we spin it now, we get an extra.
I ain't doing Swamp Thing again. You can do that show by yourself.
Yep. Well, we're going to find out what we're doing now, Jace. The best moment. Where are we? We are. We are Q, the Winged Serpent.
Oh, wow. I haven't seen this one since the
ATOR era here, aren't we?
I have not seen this one since at least the early 80s. It's been a long time.
I have a memory of it, though, but it is certainly in that what do you call it? The genre, the sword and sandal genre, the sorcery genre, this is off the back of Conan era.
Yeah, it's I know what you're talking about. I just call it Big Camp because it's a movie about the Mayan god Quetzalcoatl showing up in New York City.
Oh, I'm thinking of a different film. Yes, I do remember this. I remember the poster of the serpent on top of Empire State Building. Did they do a shot of it? Yes, I do remember that now. Absolutely. This movie's ridiculous.
I don't remember it. I just remember the monster grabbing a girl out of a swimming pool, and that's all I remember.
Yep. Oh, awesome. Maybe we'll, you know what? I haven't seen it since the early 80s, and I remember it being, as a kid, cheesy back then. Who knows what we're going to find when we go back?
I just have a feeling this is going to be painful.
Well, I got to be honest with you. This next week, this next 2 episodes, I'm not super looking forward to. Obviously, we've got this to do, but we've also got Jason Goes to Hell, and I don't have a good relationship with that movie. So
I have a weird respect for Jason Goes to Hell, and I will explain next week, but I'm actually a fan.
All right. Well, until then, we will catch you guys on the next VHS Vault where we're watching Q, the Winged Serpent. We'll catch you guys soon.
Check out SpectrumSanctorum.net for all of our podcast merch. We have an entire merch store ready to give you all the things that you loved about our podcast. And get notified on all of our socials: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and our Spectrum Sanctorum merch store. Follow us today and be sure to hit that bell when you're watching our YouTube videos so you can be notified of when a new episode releases.